Hi, honey. So, when I was about 4, my mother taught us to dream whatever we wanted to know. So, it would be like this, Dana. Like you would come to my mother, right? And you'll say, Miss Harris, I'm going on an interview and I need you to. Which way am I going? Oh, I'm going this way. No wonder. Sorry. It's a little chilly in the house. Um, I need you to tell me, how my interview is going to go, what I should wear, tell me about the guy who's giving me an interview, blah, 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 blah. So then my mother would write all this down and she'd say, okay, now I'll call you tomorrow. Okay. So we already know we rarely had company. So, it wasn't hard to tell when mama had something to do, had work to do. So after dinner, and we're getting ready for bed, and it's my turn to get ready for bed. There's 9 of us, and so she would rub my belly, and well, all the other kids got a sip of water, but I went to bed till I was 13, so I didn't get no water at bedtime. Um, she'd rub my belly, and she'd say, "Okay, you remember that lady, Dana, who was here earlier? Well, she wants to know da 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 da." Okay, so ask the angels, and she'd rub my belly, and she'd rub my back, and I'd drift off to sleep. So when I woke up, she'd rub my belly again, because I was really slow when I was younger getting started. So mother started getting me up hours ahead of time so that, we wouldn't be late. So she said, okay, what did the angels tell you? And I said, well, I don't know, but she was wearing a green dress and the man was really mean and da da da. Okay, so then she'd take my dream and the sister and the sister and the sister and the brother and the brother and the brother and da da da, write it all down, put all that together, and then call you back and say, well, he's, a male chauvinist, so, it doesn't really matter what you wear, but his favorite color is blue. So if you happen to have, nice blue slacks set, then wear that, and wear your hair up and look kind of dainty, but you're wearing pants to not look too feminine and da 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 da. And that's how we all were started. I grew up in a Unity church, and it's just one of those. Forgive me for saying, people, but now that I'm older and I can look back on life, it pretty much was like going to an old white lady church. You take your quarter, you put your quarter in, we sing 2 songs, we have the lesson, you sing 2 more songs, and you go have coffee, and you go home. That was it. It was just an hour, and that was it. And we go home and cook a big old huge stereotypical black family dinner, Sunday dinner, And then when I was 14, my brother met this lady named Reverend Zitlow, and she lived in Redlands, California. I lived in San Bernardino at the time. So Reverend Zitlow was, when she had skin, was an intertransitory medium. Okay, so mind you, all my life, strange things went bump in the night. Well, it wasn't really strange. It was Uncle Arnold walking around the house, and he would sit on my bed. And you know how you could see the imprint, like when the Invisible Man sits there, you can see the imprint. It was exactly like that, exactly. And I could feel him on my feet, lowering the bed, and I'm like, Mom! Uncle Arnold, leave Tasha alone. And I could see him get up, and I could hear the crunching of the carpet down to Mom's room. It was really amazing. And the lights would go on at 3 in the morning, and the radio would blast and on its own, and things would move on their own or disappear on their own. So I've always been used to that, and we always knew it was just, it was Uncle Arnold or Uncle Doc or Uncle Pete. Some spirit was just walking around having fun. So we met Reverend Zitlow, and she, unlike most spiritualist people, well, I come to find out later after she went home, she was part of NSA, National Spiritualist Association, and I didn't know she was related to them because she pretty much did things her own way. She didn't follow nobody's damn rules. So once we had our first few seances with her, no, you didn't hold hands. So she had a room above the church, a bathroom, gutted out the bathroom, sealed up the windows so it was pitch black when you turn the light out. There was just this little tiny table there for you to set your recorder on. And we would sit there, our first seance, and of course my grandma comes in. Now, intertransitory medium is one that they use your vocal cords, so your grandma sounds exactly like your grandma. It doesn't sound like Tasha when Tasha does her readings, okay? And it was just so, wow, just remembering it all is just, it was really nice. Oh, I'm so happy I painted her into my play, you know. It was just, it was just so happy and memorable, and it was just wonderful. It was just a really wonderful time in life. I think that probably had to be like the second most happiest time of my life when Granny was teaching us what our gifts were. Well, we learned in the seance what our gifts were. And then outside of the seance, you know, we'd have class in the other bathroom or living room, and she would teach us how to do it and what to do. And, you know, you can't feel bad for whatever you told somebody. It's none of your business. And yes, I was young and it took a while to remember, yada, yada, yada. And so that's why I am the way I am now. It's really none of my business that the spirits told you, hey, I know you're having an affair, and it's okay because he's going to end up being your husband and you're going to be happy. Well, that's none of my business. I am only a telephone. You know, so anyway, so she sat with me and my friend Michelle Harris and taught us everything we needed to know in order to use our gifts. So that's why I now have angels, teachers, and guides to teach people how to use their gifts. You know, and what your gifts are and who your guides are. Wow. It just seems like it was just yesterday, you know. Anyway, so I moved to San Jose, and then I would, you know, go home and I would visit Granny, and I said, there's this lady and they charge, you know, $500 for a reading. That's so crazy. And she'd be like, no, honey, they have a right to charge for their livelihood. So don't feel bad with them for charging a lot of money. You can charge to keep your roof over your head, too. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I could never charge people. Yeah, that changed. So, and then she went home, and I'm just so happy that I had such wonderful teachers. You know, my grandma taught me in her special way because my mother's mother didn't want people to know, I think. So she was the mother of the church by day, and we had the little, those cups, communion cups and cute stuff like that. But by night, I'm sure the witches gathered. I'm sure that's what it was, you know, because just remembering the lady that read the tea leaves, the lady that read cards, not tarot cards, the regular deck of cards was what she gave readings with. So, and then my granny, she did a lot of things in addition to having dream interpretation and whatnot. So yeah, Reverend Zitlow really taught me, you know, you can't pick and choose what you tell people. This is your gift. You have to just say what you hear, exactly what you hear. Because if you say one word different, that could be something different to the person that's getting the reading. So, you know, we see a lot on TV, you know, like in Ghost, for example, and he said, tell Molly to be careful. Molly, you in danger, girl. That's not what he said. So therefore, of course, you know, she took it a way possibly that she could not have been so shocked or traumatized or whatever. So I always tell people exactly what I hear, how I hear it, when I hear it. And then you put all the pieces together. Because generally my readings start out backwards. I don't know why. I don't care why. It eventually all makes sense. And the other thing, another big lesson Granny taught me is just because you think something is one way doesn't mean it's that way. So when I say, something smells like oranges, well, it might not really be literally an orange, but someone could have just given you a carnelian ring, and carnelian is orange, right? Pretty much. Pretty much. So that's going to shock something in your memory bank to know, oh, that's Grandpa, because Grandpa gave me that orange bracelet made in 1922. Whatever. So, and then you just learn and learn and learn. And then you associate yourself with other, readers and healers. And then you suck up some of their stuff and suck up some of their stuff. And, so like, we know Angie, and I'm trying to learn more about ruins because I don't know them very much. I don't do tarot very much. I am now pretty good at my oracle cards. And a few other things like scrying, but and after you are used to using your gifts, you have to protect yourself first, and you have to ground yourself. And I tell that to all my students: if you don't learn to protect yourself and ground yourself, this will do you no good. You will stay sick, or migraines, or whatever, because you have to learn how not to let that person's energy affect your energy. See, so I always advocate even if you have a hangnail, don't do readings or healings or anything. But I've been doing this since I was 4, so I know how to have a headache and push that aside and still tell you what your grandpa is trying to tell you, I do not advocate it, again, at all. At all. If you have not been doing this every single day of your life for several years, don't do it. And again, how can sick people really give a healing? So if you're sick and you have a list of diseases, it's not going to suit you or your client very well. That's like trying to run in mud. If the mud is up to your knees, how are you going to run in mud? Well, really, right? How are you going to run in mud? So that's pretty much how I got started. Oh, I didn't tell you the other fun part of the story. Okay, so we just went to our second seance in Grandma's reading room. And this time, a friend of mine, a dad of a friend of mine, came through, but he was still living. He was debating about going over. He was in the hospital. Come to find out later, he was in the hospital. So she's like, well, honey, that's probably why I call everybody honey, huh? Well, honey, there's this gentleman here, and he says he knows, his son, Ray. Do you know someone named Ray? I said, yes, Grandma. She says, well, he wants you to tell him to come and see his father because his father is thinking of going home. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. She says, well, we all have choice. That's probably why I say that a lot, too. So I said, no, I'm not gonna. Poof, my throat swelled up like a bullfrog, and I'm breathing like this. I couldn't eat. I could barely, because, it's hard enough to breathe, so I can't swallow. I mean, food, water. So finally, that lasted, I'm pretty sure, for 10 days, and I'm so stupid. So finally I said, Ray, I'm barely whispering now because my throat is swollen. I said, how's your dad? My mom said that she went to school with your dad. He's a really neat guy. How's your dad? And he says, I haven't seen my dad in a long time. And I said, shame on you. Go see your dad. I ran home and ate everything in the kitchen almost, well, And after that, I vowed never, ever, 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 ever to not say what the spirits tell me to tell you. And I understand that I can be funny because the spirits are very funny. They're not serious walking around like zombies like a lot of people think they are. And a lot of people do have the misconception that if you didn't get along with grandpa because grandpa hated you because he wanted a grandson instead of a granddaughter or whatever, don't write to me about that. And, you know, you thought he hated you, it's not the same once they cross over. It is never the same. Never. Ever, ever, ever. Never is it the same. Okay? So, now you know better and you know how to do better. And they know better and they help you do better. Just like you help them do better when you try to daily communicate with them. Is your claw stuck? Okay. Come on. So, it's been an interesting road, and of course, with having the gifts, it always changes. That's what I always tell my kids, you know, when you think that you're not getting anything, it's probably your transition time. So, guys, even though, well, no, I won't even say it like that. Sorry, never mind. When you think you're not getting anything, it's for a reason. They're probably shutting you down, preparing you for your new way to use your gift or your new gift. Okay? So don't think that, oh, Spirit, stop talking to me. I don't have a feeling to do anything anymore. No, they're just making an allowance for you. Like you hear ringing in your ear every single day for 7 days. Or you see little shooting stars. Or you feel that little feeling like you, almost like you just got off a roller coaster or something. Everything means something, and for everything there is a reason. More than likely, you're just changing how you do your gifts, how you perceive, how you receive, how you give your gifts. And that's it. Usually. So, there you have it. There it be. And for any of you interested in learning how to use your gift, please feel free to write me at TashSpeaks@gmail.com, and we'll get you all set up. Start class. And the biggest thing to remember is, you say, oh, but I'm afraid of giving a reading because I might be wrong. Well, if you really aren't giving the reading, why would you be wrong? It's none of your business. You're just an interpreter. You're just the telephone. The telephone's never wrong, is it? No, because it's just a telephone. It can't be right or wrong. So as long as you say what you're supposed to say and do what you're supposed to do, you're not wrong, because it's not you. That's it. So, and you know, I have been criticized a lot for being too funny or being too jokey or being too this or being too that. And I just got to tell all of you, shut the fuck up, because you don't know what you're talking about. This is what my guides say and do, and that's exactly what I'm going to say and do. And for those of you who think, you know, you want to test me, I don't have time to be tested. Go test yourself. That's not my purpose for being. My purpose for being is to do my readings, healings, teach others how to do it, make my jewelry. You know? I don't care what you think of me. That is so far outside of my thought process, you know? So, you do your readings how you do your readings, and I'll do my readings how I do my readings, and in the meantime, I keep my boss happy. And I have the galaxy's, world's, universe's bestest boss. You know? So I encourage all of you to find out what your gift is and use it. And don't be shy. Because if you're shy like me and you didn't want to do it, something always happens. I have never met a person that they didn't have their story of, you know, how they got started. Really. Really. And even my grandma, she had her story too. I'm not going to share that right now. I'll save that for another video. But it is so beautiful. I'm so happy to have all my gifts. And I'm so happy with myself for choosing to use my gifts. Because I know that life would be... I mean, I don't understand how you people that don't use your gifts survive. Because it's like this. Okay, so one day, I'm getting older, so I'm not hungry. Generally, I'm not hungry right away when I wake up. So I will just have some water or tea. And that's about it. For probably the first, I don't know, 3 hours that I'm awake. and something says, you know, go have a piece of toast. Go make a piece of toast. So I go to make a piece of toast, and the next thing you know, there's something there on the ground. Well, my roommate dropped it, and she's headed out down the street. So I run out to the street to give it to her. Now, had I not listened and listen to them tell me to go make a piece of toast, her bookkeeping assignment, whatever, would still be on the kitchen floor that accidentally fell out, you know, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Listen and just do it. Don't why. Well, I don't know. Yes, you do know. You always know. We always know. We always have the answer before we ask the question. If you need validation, that's one thing. But we always have the answer before we ask the question. Okay? So, this is Tasha Harris with TashasTouch.com and theangels.us. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. God bless you. And I'm off to make my third video. Okay, guys. Have a great day. See you later.